The rent eviction moratorium is over. Now what happens? Next on Smart Money. Welcome to Smart Money. I'm Pat Boyle along with Julia Anderson, and today we are talking about the rent eviction moratorium. It's over. It's confusing. Julia, you're going to square it up for us, aren't you?
Well, I'm going to try. My ultimate desire was to have someone from the state of Oregon join us for a conversation updating this rental assistance program that's underway in Oregon. But I called them twice and their media line, and they didn't get back to me. So I've put
Hmm.
on my investigative reporter hat, and I've gone out and looked at a whole lot of stuff on the internet, trying to sort through everything to get a handle on what's going on.
Well, what is going on? I know Oregon received like $280 million from the feds for the rental assistance. How much have they doled out, and how clogged is the system to get the money?
Well, they did get $280 million from this federal rescue program, and unfortunately, only 1,300 families out of 25,000 people who've actually applied for the assistance have actually gotten any money. And so the biggest tangle is that it's a very bureaucratic process. You have to apply online, and it's taking weeks, if not months, to get any of the money that's there to help renters who are behind on their apartment rent or their house rent.
I'm not clear on who qualifies for the program.
Well, that's part of the bureaucracy. All the applicants have to be vetted, and they want to know what your household income is. They want to know how many people live in the household, and then they decide whether you qualify or not for some sort of help with the rental agreement. So it has to be vetted. So that's why it's taking so long. I did pull out an example, which I'm going to look at right here, and it says that if you're in a four-member family, and your total household income is $77,350 or less, then you qualify for rent help. And the rent help comes in a couple of ways. It will pay for back rent that you haven't paid up to 12 months backwards, and it will also pay for 3 months going forward. So there's a lot of detail around all this.
There really is, and think about it. If it were you, there's nothing more frightening than thinking about your safe harbor, the roof over your head, being threatened. I mean, it's the end of the line, so it must be just really frightening for a bunch of families in Oregon. Do we know how what the scope of the problem is in Oregon with the renters?
There's a rough estimate. Again, it's about 80,000 people apparently in Oregon are behind on rental payments, housing rent payments. This all kicked in with the moratorium, which was that renters didn't have to pay rent going back to March of 2020. That's when the COVID shutdown first hit, and people may have lost their jobs. Certainly, there was a big plunge in employment as people had to stay home because of the shutdown. So something like 80,000 people are behind in the state of Oregon. As I said, 25,000 people have applied for rental assistance help, but only 1,300 people have actually gotten any money.
Is it a situation, Julia, where the clock is ticking? If you don't get through the process by a certain date, you're out of luck?
I think there's time ahead. I mean, the money is sitting there, and I think the trick is to get the application in. If you haven't done it already, go ahead and do it, even though you may not get any help for weeks or months. But I don't see any deadline. Maybe sometime in the end of 2022, there could be a cutoff, or when the money runs out, which it likely will. So the sooner the better you apply. I think that's a good idea.
And we should say that it's not a loan. You don't have to pay it back. It's a helping hand, isn't it?
This is a helping hand. It's money into your checking account or bank account that will help you pay back rent and keep a roof over your head. The idea is that a lot of people lost their income during the first part of the shutdown for sure, and some of them are still struggling to get back on their feet. And so, yeah, this is just cash. We're here to help. It's money from the federal government that came out of Congress last year.
Renters aren't the only ones who are struggling. Landlords who aren't collecting the rent payment are struggling as well. Is there any help for them?
There is. Obviously, landlords are still paying the taxes on the rental property that they own. They're still paying, in some cases, for other services like power and water, that sort of thing. And they have been really pounding on the door saying, what about us? Because they've been basically left out in terms of the moratorium as well. So in the state of Oregon, I think, let me double check again here, something like $150 million of this federal money is supposed to go to landlords. That was even harder for me to figure out. If you go online and try and sort through what's the latest news and how to get something done on the internet, you're stumbling over out-of-date information that may have been posted a year ago or 6 months ago. But landlords as well as renters are eligible for this rental assistance money.
Just think, Julia, you're an investigative reporter, so you know how to dig through the internet and find the answers you're looking for. But if you're a renter who needs help, I mean, who is there to, aside from the state, and I know they've hired an outside contractor, but who is there to kind of hold the hand of the renter going through this process?
Nobody. I think you're basically on your own trying to sort it out, and the only help that the state can give you is this portal, online portal, where you can fill in all the blanks and apply to get some rental help. Yeah, there's not a lot of other help out there other than local rental associations. Sometimes cities like the city of Portland may have extra help that you could call on, and they could give you advice on what to do.
What if you're in the eviction process? You've received an eviction notice. Are you out of luck?
There is a 888 number that you can call, and Oregon offers support for people who are already in eviction court. And by eviction, we mean that your landlord has already given you notice that you're going to be kicked out of your rental housing unless you start paying rent. So I can give that number to you, I think, here. Actually, I'm going to, I've moved the papers around on me. I can't find it right now, but if you go to the website for, it's called OregonRentalAssistance.org, that phone number will be there in terms of help that you can get for an eviction.
Okay, 3 more questions. The first one is, what is the biggest challenge for the state as it tries to do this program?
I think the biggest challenge is the state of Oregon is buried. And I'm very sympathetic to that. This is a brand new program that got dumped onto the state through the federal government, where they said, okay, we're going to hand out this federal money to the states, and then the states have to distribute it. So the regular organization at the state is just buried in applications. And then, as I said, they've got to be vetted. So you can't just send the money out the instant you get an application. And it could be another one of those deals where a lot of the applicants are scammers from who knows where that are using personal information to present themselves as a legitimate recipient of the money. And so the state is obligated to check all that out. So I feel really sorry for the state of Oregon folks who are trying to get this rental assistance money out. They have hired, as you said, a contractor to help them do it. That was only a month ago, so I'm guessing that is just now getting up to speed. The good news is that even though the moratorium is over and renters have to start paying their rent, all they have to do is start paying current rent. They don't have to start paying back rent yet. That deadline is all the way into February, the end of February of 2022. So if renters could just get started on the current rent, then they may be able to get a handle on the rental assistance program.
So what's the bottom line?
The bottom line is, if you're a renter, If you have not already applied for the rental assistance money, do so immediately. And you can do that by going to OregonRentalAssistance.org and get your name on the list. You may have to wait weeks or months to get the money. It will pay for back rent, and it also will pay for forward rent if you're still out of a job. There's, as I said, there's all these parameters for how you qualify. The second thing I would do is get in touch with my landlord directly and say, yeah, I know that the moratorium is over. I want to start paying the current rent. Can you work with me on this? And if you still have limited household income, I would talk to your landlord about that directly. I think that's the most important thing you can do, is let them know that you really want to start paying rent again. And maybe there's a way you can work out a reduced rental payment, or you can add on a little bit to your monthly rent to pay for that back rent that you haven't paid. Those are the only two things I think you can do, is apply for the rental help and then talk to your landlord. And hopefully we'll get through this mess.
Yeah, Julia, some really good information you've given people today. So thank you so much. And thank you out there for tuning in to Smart Money.
For more information, go to my website at 60andsingle.com.